Welcome to this week's discussion on, are you a giver or a getter? Ask yourself which you believe you are. Ask a close friend who would give you an honest answer to who they think you are. How do the two opinions match up? Let's look at what it means to be a giver or a getter. Keep in mind that very few of us are all one or the other. Most of us are a combination of both. Givers are those who are often characterized by their generosity, empathy, and willingness to help others without expecting anything in return. They might be more inclined to offer support, share knowledge, or go out of their way to assist others, even if it requires personal effort or sacrifice. In relationships, givers often prioritize their partner's needs and happiness, seeking to create a positive and supportive environment. A giver is one who best answers God's call to love one another. Getters, on the other hand, are more focused on their own needs and what they can receive from others or a situation. They may be more likely to seek personal benefit or advantage, and their interactions with others might be more transactional. In relationships, getters might be more focused on receiving attention, affection, or support from their partner. If they do sometimes seem to be helpful, it is usually because they are looking for self-benefit for their actions. Think about who you might have more admiration for in people either living or in the past. Who do you admire the most, and which category do they fit in? Are they givers or are they getters? As for me, two examples come to mind immediately. Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta was a giver. She lived her entire life for others and never looked for anything for herself. If someone gave her something, she usually gave it away. Hitler, on the other hand, was a getter. He built roads and told his people that he was improving the country for the people. In reality, by making the people think he was doing things to make their lives better, he was creating routes for his army to simplify conquering all of Europe. We may even be a little envious of those who have been very successful financially or of the power they have attained all over the world. But again, who do we really admire the most? God teaches us to love and to be givers, not getters. One of the worst situations that occurs in most sections of the world is starvation. Is this because there is not enough food in the world? No, it is because of greed, which is the opposite of love. Food could be sent all over the world, but there is no profit in that. Even when food is sent, there are greedy people who will attack the shipments and take over those shipments and try to make a profit from it by selling them on the black market. These are getters. We hear such a story in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verse 16 through 20. There was a rich man whose land produced a bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What shall I do? For I do not have space to store my harvest." And he said, "This is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods, and I shall say to myself, now as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you. And the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong?" Most of us have at least a little greed in us. Some have a lot. This is nothing new. Beginning in the first book of the Bible, we hear in Genesis the story of Cain and Abel and their experience with greed. Cain was the tiller of the soil, and his brother was the herder. Cain gave to God from his produce of the field. Abel gave to God first from the best parts of his flock. Cain was greedy and wanted the best for himself and gave what he didn't want. The greed and jealousy and the murder of Abel by his brother Cain became the first murder to ever occur. This was a very long time ago, but we hear about stories like this every day on the news. Generosity is not measured by how much money is given. In the Gospel of Mark, we hear about a woman that gave only one coin in chapter 12, verses 41 through 44. He sat down opposite the treasury and observed how the crowd put money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow also came and put in 2 small coins worth a few cents. Calling his disciples to himself, he said to them, "Amen, I say to you, this poor widow put in more than all the other contributors to the treasury, for they have all contributed from their surplus wealth, but she, from her poverty, has contributed all she had, her whole livelihood." It is not the amount of money that is important. I heard this story about two paper dollars that met at the treasury where they were going to be destroyed because they had reached the age of usefulness. One was a $1 bill, and one was a $20 bill. The $20 bill was boasting about all that he had seen in his lifetime. He had traveled all over the world, had been to beautiful places and great restaurants, been on cruises and on and on. The $1 bill was very impressed and said, "Boy, I have not seen any of that." So the $20 bill asked him where he had spent most of his time during his life in circulation. The $1 bill said, "I have only been from one church basket to another." It is not a pleasant thing to have to ask for money, but it must be done to survive. When you work, hopefully you don't have to ask for a paycheck every pay period. It should always be there. It should also be in the basket every week at church, but it is not. Many times, during a church fundraiser, there were people who gave very generously, but it still stopped short of the goal. When only 20% of the church family are contributing, it is very difficult to reach the goal no matter how much they give. Some may even give more than they really can afford to try to pay for those who do not contribute. If 100% would give what they can, any goal would be easy to reach. Those who don't contribute are getters and not givers. They get all the benefits that the church offers, and by not being willing to give, they get from those who are giving. We only discussed money in this discussion, but remember that a giver gives more than money. He or she gives themselves in time and talents as well. Givers are hospitable. The welfare of others is the goal, and how we answer God's call to put the need before our own. Be a giver of time, talent, and treasure. No one likes a getter. The late Fulton Sheen makes it very clear the effect that our decisions have on our lives. He said, "If you don't behave as you believe, you will end by believing as you behave." The world tells us to seek success, power, and money. God tells us to seek humility, service, and love. The choice is yours. Will you be a giver or a getter? Have a blessed week. If you would like to receive a notification for these weekly discussions, please subscribe below. You can also feel free to share any comments.